Welcome to our channel Bravo News. Tears and tension. Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky's raw moment at daughter Alexia's wedding. The day the family had been waiting for. The warm California sun peeked through the French-style windows of the Ritz-Carlton ballroom, bathing everything in a golden glow. White roses, hydrangeas, and cascading orchids draped over the tables, creating a breathtaking sea of floral perfection. A string quartet tuned up in the corner, preparing to play the first notes of Alexia Umansky's bridal march. This wasn't just another Beverly Hills wedding. This was the wedding of Kyle Richards' eldest daughter, Alexia, the girl fans of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills had seen grow from a shy teenager to a poised, confident woman stepping into the next chapter of her life. But amid the sparkle of champagne flutes, the glitter of designer gowns, and the hush of anticipation, there was something heavier in the air. Something unsaid. Something that even the most dazzling chandelier couldn't hide. Because while the world knew this was Alexia's big day, insiders whispered that it was also a test. A test for Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky, the couple whose decades-long marriage had been rocked by rumors, separation whispers, and long silences. And now they would have to sit side by side, smile for the cameras, pretend for a moment that nothing had ever broken them apart. Kyle's morning tears. The bridal suite buzzed with makeup artists, hairstylists, and bridesmaids in silk robes sipping mimosas, but Kyle Richards sat quietly by the window, her hands trembling as she adjusted the diamond bracelet Mauricio had given her years ago. "Mom, are you okay?" Alexia asked softly, walking over in her satin gown. Her hair was swept back in perfect waves, her veil pinned delicately with jeweled clips. Kyle forced a smile, but her eyes shimmered with tears. "I'm fine, baby. Just emotional. You're my firstborn, my little Lexi, and now look at you." Alexia leaned down and hugged her tightly, the kind of hug only a daughter could give, a hug that carried years of laughter, late-night talks, and the unspoken bond of surviving family storms together. But Kyle's tears weren't only for her daughter. They were for the man she had once called the love of her life, the man who would soon walk Alexia down the aisle at her side, Mauricio. Mauricio's silent struggle. Down the hall, Mauricio stood before a mirror in his tailored black tuxedo, straightening his bow tie with shaking fingers. He had closed multi-million-dollar real estate deals. He had spoken on global stages. But nothing prepared him for this. Seeing Kyle again, in public, after everything. His friends slapped his back, telling him he looked sharp, but his mind wasn't on his cufflinks. It was on the woman he had once shared every dream with, and on the silence that had stretched between them since their split. Would they be able to put their differences aside for Alexia? Could he lock away the pain long enough to walk proudly like a united family? He didn't know. The ceremony begins. Guests filed into the ballroom, gasping at the floral arches, the candlelit aisle, the string quartet playing Claire de Lune. Dorit Kemsley arrived in a glittering gold gown, whispering to PK about how stunning everything looked. Lisa Rinna, no longer a housewife but still a friend, slipped into the second row, her oversized sunglasses hiding curious eyes. Even Andy Cohen was rumored to be in the crowd, grinning with pride at yet another Bravo daughter's wedding milestone. Then the moment came. The doors opened, the music swelled, and there she was, Alexia, radiant in lace-trimmed gown, glowing with the kind of beauty that only love could bring. But all eyes weren't just on the bride. They were on the two people flanking her, Kyle Richards on one side, Mauricio Umansky on the other. A united front, a fractured marriage, a bittersweet fairy tale. The emotional exchange. As they walked down the aisle, whispers rippled through the crowd. Kyle and Mauricio didn't hold hands, but they moved in perfect rhythm, as though years of partnership still pulsed through them. Halfway down the aisle, Mauricio leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "She looks beautiful, doesn't she?" Kyle's breath caught. She nodded, her eyes fixed ahead. "Yes, she looks perfect." For a moment, their shoulders brushed, and it felt like old times, a flicker of the love that once defined them. But then, just as quickly, the flicker faded, replaced by the heaviness of reality. When they reached the altar, Kyle and Mauricio kissed Alexia's cheeks in unison, and in that small gesture, the audience saw everything: the love of two parents, the pain of two ex-partners, and the unspoken promise that no matter what, they would always show up for their daughter. Toasts that cut deep. The reception glittered with champagne towers and chandeliers. Guests laughed, danced, and celebrated, but when it was time for speeches, emotions spilled over. Kyle stood, glass in hand, her voice trembling as she spoke about motherhood, sacrifice, and the pride she felt watching Alexia grow into a woman. Tears streamed down her cheeks, her vulnerability raw and unpolished. Then Mauricio took the microphone. His voice cracked as he said, "Alexia, you taught me what fatherhood means. You're the reason I became the man I am today. And Kyle, thank you for giving her. No matter what life brings, I'll always be grateful for that." The crowd gasped. Cameras zoomed in. And Kyle, she lowered her gaze, unable to meet his eyes. It was the moment everyone would talk about for weeks to come. A family forever. As the night wore on, the tears gave way to laughter, the heavy silence replaced with music and dance. Kyle and Mauricio didn't reconcile, but they found a fragile peace, sharing a dance with their daughter, posing for family photos, and letting the world see that even fractured families can still create beauty. When the final sparkler burned out and the newlyweds drove away, Kyle and Mauricio lingered at the edge of the ballroom. No cameras, no audience, just two people who had once built a life together. Mauricio whispered, "We did good, didn't we?" And Kyle, with tears in her eyes, simply said, "Yes, we did." The tabloids erupted the next morning. Headlines screamed, "Kyle and Mauricio's tearful reunion at daughter's wedding." Fans shocked by emotional moment between estranged Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Did Kyle Richards and Mauricio Umansky just hint at reconciliation? Social media buzzed with theories. Some fans swore they saw sparks. Others insisted it was closure. But one thing was undeniable. The moment captured at Alexia's wedding wasn't just a family milestone, it was Bravo history. What this means for the future. Back in Beverly Hills, Kyle returned home to quiet halls and framed photos of the life she once had. Mauricio returned to his world of real estate deals and long flights, but both carried with them the memory of Alexia's wedding. The moment where past and present collided, where heartbreak and hope intertwined, where love in its many forms still managed to shine. And as fans wait eagerly for the next season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, one question lingers. Was this just a fleeting emotional moment, or the first step toward a second chance? Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to our channel for regular updates.